I don't think I want to be married.
Ray Donovan, Season 7, Episode 2. For all my Power fans that are looking for something to watch, Ray Donovan is just as good of a show as Power. Basically, this guy is a Hollywood fixer for when people have illegal or incredulous activities going on and they need someone to eliminate the threat, get rid of the problem, or handle the situation. They call Ray Donovan, and his family is crazy as hell, and the show is really, really good. And we're gonna go through Episode 2 and just recap it and let you know what's going on. If you're finding me for the first time, please subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notifications so when I drop videos, you get them. Follow me on all my social media links. And if you are a cord cutter looking to get some free streams, check the very first link in my video description. To kind of recap where they're at in Episode 2, basically in the first episode, Ray Donovan is coming back from last season because there was a couple of deaths involving cops. And without making this long about what happened last year, basically they have found the heads of these cops and they're trying to get Ray Donovan and his family, and they're trying to put the pieces together. And Ray has come up with an elaborate scheme of how to get out of it. And it starts out with Ray Donovan sitting on the couch with a psychologist because a couple of seasons ago he lost his wife to cancer, and that really made him go crazy. He jumped off a building into some water, and from there, because he had a heart-to-heart with his daughter, he's been seeking counseling. And in the very last episode, his dad, Mickey, went to jail because Ray told him to go to jail, turned himself in. And during the transportation of Dad to upstate, would you guys believe a gas truck driver fell asleep and the truck rolled back into the bus that was transporting all those criminals? And so at this point, we think that Mickey is dead. The family think he's dead. And to understand the relationship, the dad didn't really get along with most of his children. As a matter of fact, the one black kid up here, Daryl, was supposed to be a kid out of wedlock type deal. Then the next scene we saw Ray Donovan's brother, Terry, who suffers from Parkinson's, and he's having issues with the medications. He's been spending money on his meds. He meets this chick, this holistic looking chick who does holistic medicines. And why do they always give Terry these sketchy women? But long story short, he goes to some kind of retreat, and I think they gave his ass bath salts because he was throwing up and all that kind of stuff. He's getting ready to leave this thing, and he doesn't know that Mickey has died, but Ray is calling him, and Ray can't reach him because at this retreat, the lady took his cell phone, and he doesn't know what has happened to Mickey. Then in the very next scene, Ray meets up with the ex-cop's wife, and now that it has resurfaced that these cops were killed, Ray goes to the lady's wife because Ray and that cop became friends through it all. Because that particular cop, you guys who watch Power know him as Cousin Benny. Well, this particular cop saved Ray last season from drowning. They became friends through forced enemies, and now Ray is at the doorstep of this cop's wife, who is now the widow, asking her to coerce and corroborate that the cop did all the killing from last season, but really the cop took his own life because he was about to be caught up in a little scandal. And so she's gonna take this money from Ray and the crew and say that, hey, you know, my husband did the crime. But the reason why she's doing that is because when a cop admits to criminal activity, the spouse doesn't get the pension. So Ray is willing to pay her the pension she was supposed to get. And in this season, my Power fans, you'll recognize this lady. This is Tamika from Power. She's actually a detective on this show now, and she's trying to figure out how in the hell did these three cops come up dead, and they found their heads in the river. Well, she's basically opening up the investigation all over again, and Ray and the crew are, I'm not gonna say prime suspects, but damn it, they're on the top of the list. The next scene we see Ray's brothers. You see Daryl, the black kid, which is ironic because the daddy didn't like black people unless she was a black woman with a fat booty. And you see Butch, their brother, who has a little bit of a special needs. and they know that the daddy is dead, and what they're talking about is funeral arrangements. Well, there's no body. The assumption is that the body got incinerated by the fire. And so at this point, they're in here, and the guy at the morgue is saying you could put him in an urn. Well, there's no point in that because he's not there. Or you can use these little lights as a memorial. And so they don't know anything about this type of stuff. And so what they do is they just get a urn that is going to memorialize the daddy. And then they're going to do a little vigil. They're going to have a little get together and kind of talk about the dad. In the next scene, you see Bunchy at his job. And I don't know, he works at a convenience store / grocery store, and they're being robbed. And right now, Bunchy is feeling really bad. Everything has just collapsed on him. Last season, he's lost access to his child. Now his dad is dead. So Bunchy feels like he has nothing to live for. And what does he do? In true Bunch form, he beats the hell out of these robbers, takes their guns, actually shoots one of them, and then he's now made to be somewhat of a hero because he saved his job in the store from this robbery. Then we see Terry, for the first time, finds out that Mickey is dead, and he finds out because Daryl pops up at his house. And when Daryl pops up at the house, he lets him know that Ray been trying to get up with him, so Daryl gives him the phone, he calls, and Daryl has been on a hunt trying to find photos to put on that urn of Mickey. And in this exchange, Terry really pisses off him because he gives him basically a derogatory statement. This is what he said.
Well, I don't got no photographs after my mother. Well, if you and your mom want a shot from different strokes, you should have taken it your fucking self.
I'll see you tonight.
Yep, and from there, Daryl, he storms up out of there, man, because, you know, I probably would have done the same thing, too. You say that about my mom wanting to get her lollies off. And the next scene, we see Ray Donovan's assistant, the lady sitting behind the desk, talking to Ray Donovan's daughter and Ray Donovan's daughter's fiance, who she doesn't want to be with anymore, so keep that in mind. He's panicking over the kill of these cops and what happened, and now that he knows that the investigation is going on, he's not a criminal, dude, and he's just losing his shit. And I think that him and the way he behaves, he's kind of virtually a good guy. And Ray Donovan has him working for him to keep an eye on him. Bridget doesn't want him anymore. Bridget, her daddy is hardcore, stoic. He's just a cold, calculated dude. And I think she wants more of someone else. And so she lets Ray know earlier in the first episode that she, you know, wants to be with someone else. She's dating someone else. She doesn't want to cheat on her current fiance, but she don't want to get married either. Then in the next scene, we see this cross between Justin Bieber and fucking Taylor Swift, who's a guy that Ray Donovan is doing work for now because he's the new hot Instagram person, and he does all these parties for families, and a bunch of desperate housewives wanted him to come and do performances for their daughters. And he took blowjobs as payments, and now one of them is holding them for ransom. Well, Ray Donovan does work with this kid's lawyer, and the lawyer just happens to be, guess what? The person that Ray Donovan's daughter likes, which is this guy. And so, you know, they're in there needing some tickets to give them cover for where they were at on November the 7th. And you can basically see that he's got the hots for Ray Donovan's daughter, just like she has the hots for him. And she asked him to give them stubs, saying that they came to a concert to give them cover. And as Ray Donovan's assistant and the daughter are walking away, the assistant realizes that the daughter's got something going on with this guy. And she's basically telling her to be careful, use protection, whatever. And she also tells Ray Donovan's daughter that she's going to be leaving, going to LA tomorrow. And Ray Donovan's daughter has built up a little bit of a bond with the assistant because the mom is gone now. And in the next scene, you see this guy right here, and Ray Donovan is working with the mayor to throw this guy right here under the bus. So they initially took pictures of this guy having kiddie porn head with a young man. Ray Donovan's got the pictures, they set him up, and they want him to be coerced to do something. And this guy's like, hell to the no, I'm not gonna do it. Ray Donovan, take this $1 million I got for you and walk away. And y'all know Ray Donovan ain't gonna do that. Ray Donovan's Ray Donovan. Ray Donovan says, hell to the no. I'm sticking to it. You need to cop to this agreement, and that's what it's gonna be. And the guy takes it on the chin, and Ray Donovan walks out. Next scene, we see Ray Donovan getting ready to depart, and this is when we see Tamika roll up on Ray Donovan, basically saying to Ray Donovan, like, look, man, I understand what's going on with this investigation. You need to let me know what was your involvement. Where were you located, Ray Donovan, on XYZ time? And basically Ray Donovan says we was at the concert, blah, blah, blah. Then the next scene, you see this cat right here who also has hired Ray Donovan to handle a situation, and Ray Donovan's kind of handling it, but he hasn't killed the guy. And this guy wants Ray Donovan to kill this kid because he's chasing behind one of his girls or what may have you. And Ray Donovan has shown a little bit of mercy, just simply because Ray Donovan has been going to that counseling that they started out having early on in this episode. The next scene, we see Ray Donovan talking to the cop's wife, who is starting to have a change of heart about confessing, saying that her husband performed the act of killing everybody, because he really didn't, ladies and gentlemen. The husband suicided himself. So now she's getting cold feet, and she's telling Ray, you know what, take your money back. I'm not gonna say that my husband did that. I don't want that on my conscience. And Ray Donovan says, you know what, you can keep the money, whatever, it is what it is. The next scene, we see Ray Donovan's assistant scrubbing video from the night that the cop took his life, because they're gonna have this alibi, and Ray Donovan was clearly at this hotel, but she is scrubbing the evidence in true fashion, the way she's supposed to do her job. The next scene, you see the mayor calling Ray Donovan, asking what's going on with this guy he wants him to take care of. And Ray lets him know that he's not trying to budge on the deal, but Ray's basically like, I'm gonna handle it. And the mayor's putting pressure on Ray Donovan, you need to get this done. And Ray Donovan, because of all this pressure going on in his life, has started back drinking. Usually when Ray Donovan's in a lot of pain, he drinks. And here's the guy that the initial punk ass that has hired Ray to chase to get away from this girl. Ray finds him in the public and tells him to stay away from the girl, beats her up. Then the girl runs out, pushes Ray Donovan and says, it's not him that's the problem, it's this punk ass you're working for. Ray basically walks away, leaves the situation alone, and then decides to make a phone call to the punk ass to just let him know, hey, F off, I'm through with you. And as Ray is doing that, look at who's looking at Ray on the phone. That is the detective this season that's following Ray. She's taking notes, and Ray doesn't really realize that they're under investigation in terms of she's following him around. He knows that they're chasing him, but she doesn't know that he's under that type of investigation. And then here in the last scene, the family has gotten together to, in essence, give their memories of Mickey Donovan, and they're just talking about what they went through with Mickey Donovan and how much of a shitbag dad that he was. And then at the very last minute, they get a knock on the door, and guess who it is? The person they thought is dead is Mickey Donovan, and Ray, with all his rage, punches his ass dead in the face. And that's where they ended this episode. And I thought it was a really, really good episode. If y'all know anything about Ray Donovan, he is as callous as they come. This show is really, really good. Showtime only puts out great shows. For those of you that have been desperately looking for something to watch, I would kindly say, check out Ray Donovan. It is a great show, and I will continue to bring you more and more reviews of Ray, because I think this is worth you guys' time in watching. That's gonna do it for this video. Don't forget to like my video. Please comment, subscribe, go get yourself a life game. If you really, really enjoy my commentary and what I do, please consider donating to my Patreon. The link is in the video description, along with my social media links so that you can follow me. And until that next sexy as hell video, I'll see you.